Hey. Hey, babe. Happy anniversary. Guess what? We're kid-free. This is the first time we have slept this long in a very long time.
Feels wonderful.
It does. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Shout out to
kid-free anniversary.
shout out to Aunt Lolo for watching Zion.
Yes.
Listen, it's our 2-year anniversary. Quarantine style. It's the great shut-in of 2020, but we're gonna make it, and we're gonna have a good time anyway. So, get up. We're quarantined, so we ordered breakfast delivered from Bob Evans. They had like a no contact delivery, so had to open the garage, and they left it on top of the car, but it's here. It is here. Huh? All right, so I'm in my robe. Please excuse me, I haven't gotten dressed yet. Sandra's pretty much together, huh? She is taking a quick break so we can eat breakfast. I showed y'all we ordered our breakfast from Bob Evans.
One of the few breakfast places that are still open during this quarantine anniversary.
Yes. We wanted to order from First Watch, but apparently
only select locations
are open, and Ohio wasn't listed on the website. So
we're not important enough.
they gonna find out. This goes out to y'all. We're very upset. That's not true. I'm not upset at all. But so
Bob Evans came through.
Shout out to Francesca for your post about Bob Evans. She made a post that said Bob Evans is disgusting.
Really?
People were going in on it, talking about his freezer food, and it smelled like a retirement home in there.
Oh my gosh, it's terrible.
Well, shout out to Bob Evans for our quaranniversary celebration breakfast. I'm safe. Sandra's not, but she can wrap her face up with that scarf. You struggling with that seatbelt, daughter?
Get on. Oh!
I'm just kidding. So, someone sent us a package. I'm about to go get it.
We like packages. We're out driving and we got a call like, hey, we just dropped off a package to your house. We're like, oh, we'll be right back.
Be right there. So, here we go. Oh my god. This is so cute. Wow. This is so much. Shout out to our friends who sent these to us. You guys are, first of all, one, you know who you are. Two,
you're amazing.
You have,
I love you.
I can't even outdo you. This is phenomenal. She sent flowers. This humongous edible arrangement. And I can't even open it. And strawberries.
We're gonna have a great time.
She wants us to have another baby. Oh my god. Happy anniversary. And happy anniversary
to you too.
To you. Hello. Praise the Lord, everybody. Welcome. You're so funny. I am here joined by my wonderful wife. Ta-da! Ta-da! The one and only Dr. Cassandra Wright.
Good evening.
We just celebrated our 2-year anniversary yesterday.
No, it was 2 days ago.
2 days ago. What's today?
Today's the 23rd.
Lord, this quarantine got my days running together, Lord.
It's definitely Thursday. It was Tuesday.
Wow, time's flown. So, we just celebrated our 2-year anniversary, and the Lord has blessed us to make it to 2 years, and we're extremely grateful. And we wanted to just come on and just share a few things about our journey, some of the things that we've learned along the way, and talk about life lessons, right?
Yeah, things 2 years has taught us. What we've learned in 2 years.
Yeah. Did you enjoy your anniversary? Tell the people about our anniversary celebration.
It was
quarantine
fun.
style.
Okay, so we had all these plans to like do all these travelings or whatever. We hadn't decided on the place, but then COVID-19 happened.
Coronavirus.
And it shut everything down. So the highlight was I did get some sleep because my sister did.
Yes, the wonderful
babysit
Louise.
the baby. So it was awesome. But anyway, we had breakfast.
We ordered breakfast from Bob Evans, Francesca.
Everything else was closed.
Bob Evans, Francesca.
So that was nice.
They delivered it. They sent it to us. It was great. Contactless delivery.
Contact free. Yeah.
I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah. So anyway, so that was really nice. And then we just kind of drove around with no destination in sight.
Yes. We got in the car and I was
there
like,
was no destination
we can't go anywhere. I mean, other than like Walmart or Kroger, right? We couldn't go anywhere. So I was like, well, we're just going to drive around. So we got in the car and we drove around. We looked at nice big old houses, went to the country.
It's like a dreaming,
Yeah, just driving around, and spending time together. And then we stopped in the country.
Yeah, well, at my sister's house because she's the bomb and she's, hey, Danielle. Hey,
hello, Danielle. Hey, Sister Pam.
So yeah, we stopped at my sister's house to pick up a package.
Yeah.
And then we ended up staying for a few hours and catching up with them.
Yeah.
And then we came home and he cooked me the most amazing dinner. Oh my gosh. If y'all didn't know, he can actually cook. So he made me this shrimp stuffed salmon that he got the recipe from. So Stovetop Kisses. And oh my gosh, it was bomb.
Yes. If y'all don't look at Stovetop Kisses recipes on YouTube, you are missing out. Go check out Stovetop Kisses.
It was so good. So yeah, and then we just enjoyed a quiet evening with no child. So it was great.
Listen, it was wonderful. And okay,
I know didn't have to cook breakfast. Well, okay, so here's the thing. I woke up and I was like, you know what? He always cooks. Like I should probably cook something for him. And then I was like, but I'm tired and I don't really want to.
Do it.
So I was like, we both won't cook. We'll just order in.
Yes, and by will order in means I will order in. So I ordered, and handled all that.
But anyway, it was nice. It was a good time to reconnect. And, these moments are few and far between now with the baby.
Yeah, super.
So, yes, it was fire. Yes, Clifford.
Yes.
So
shrimp stuffed salmon. And did you already say this? I don't eat seafood.
Yeah, so I
hate seafood. Absolutely.
And I had leftovers.
I think seafood is absolutely disgusting. And I know some of you are going to hate me for that, but I just can't. The smell, I don't do it. But my wife loves seafood.
I love seafood. So it was meaningful that he did all that just
I had to touch the salmon fillet. Kroger, it was late when we got to Kroger. They was getting ready to close, and so I bought the fillet. And so if you get it, sometimes when you get salmon fillets, they got the scales and stuff on them, like the skin, and you have to separate the skin from the fillet when you cook it. And so I had to do that, and it was gross, all salami old fish. Touching all on the scales.
So it was very meaningful. Anyway, so we had a good time.
Hello, Sister Tanya. So, so we drove around. And then while we were out driving around, we got a call from a friend of ours who was like, are you home? And we were like, no.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're not home. You have to go home because we sent you a package and it's going to be there any minute. So we drove home and these beautiful flowers... There, I can't do it. How do you? There. We're waiting for us, and so these beautiful flowers are waiting for us, as well as this massive basket from Edible Arrangements of fruit. It was so good, nice. And a box of cookies. Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Well, they are anniversary twins.
They are our friends from Chicago, our anniversary twins. We met them.
Amber, sushi's not out of the question, Amber. I just eat the sushi and he doesn't, so.
Oh, no. Sushi is out of the picture for me. I don't do sushi. No sushi, no seafood. I don't even like tuna fish. No, I don't like fish stick. None. I don't like none of it.
Anyway, well, greetings from Nebraska. Well, thank you all for joining us. We know that it's late. So it's really late because we have a 10-month-old.
We have a son. He just went to sleep.
He literally just fell asleep. So the timing worked out well. So anyway, babe, I guess you want to start?
All right, so we're going to jump in. We're going to share 3 things that we've learned in the 2 years that we have been married. So if you're on here and you haven't said hello yet, make sure you say hello in the comments. Hey,
Connie.
Hey, Constance. I text you, girl. I know you see my text, but that's okay. Yes, and click share. So here we go. We're going to share 3 things that we've learned over the last 2 years. So I'll start by saying this. We are in no way trying to position ourselves as experts on marriage or trying to teach you how to do your marriage or any of that. We're just 2 people who are still new to this, still learning and still growing. So we just want to share 3 things we have personally learned. So I'll start and I'll say one thing I have learned in the last 2 years is the great necessity for self-sacrifice, if you will, like to deny yourself and to like you go from being single to being into a relationship, into covenant, and then we have a son now, so you literally cannot think about yourself only. Like when you do everything in life, almost all of your decisions, you have to consider the other person, how they might feel, how they might respond, what they think. There's just so much to take into consideration. So I would say one of the biggest things I've learned over the last 2 years, and am learning, so in process of learning, is the dying to yourself and to taking into consideration your spouse and now a child too. So
yeah, I said that was a good one. Yeah. I think one thing that I've learned that I think was hard for me to kind of really digest was that it's not like a fairy tale. Meaning that, you grow up, like my favorite movie growing up was Little Mermaid, and everyone's like, oh, Eric the Prince, and like you get married, like you meet, fall in love, and you have like this amazing wedding on this beautiful boat, and like you live happily ever after. Mm-hmm. Like I think Disney conditioned this whole generation to have this whole...
At least Cassandra and some others.
Well, I'll say for me. Like, you have, like, this whole, like, oh, hey, like, my prince in shining armor is going to come and sweep me off my
Zorro
feet.
in your life and rescue you.
Rescue me, and life is going to be bliss. You're never going to have any conflict. So I think for me, the biggest thing I've learned is you have to get the image out of your mind. And, like, not necessarily even just the image of, like, what, Disney or, like, some of these things are, like, all of these rom-coms, romantic comedies show. It always ends the same. Yeah. The guy gets the girl, they have a great time, and life is blissful. It's remembering that you have your own marriage and that the idea of what marriage is not based off of what other people necessarily have said or what their opinions are. It's based off a biblical perspective, and going along with that dying to self and creating your own happy space, your own space to share and to feel safe with the other person and to thrive, essentially. Realizing that image does involve some conflict. So I guess that would be the second thing.
Well, to your first point is that, like, recognizing, I think for her and watching her on that journey and also being a part of that, the discovering that, like, there is no blueprint specifically for every marriage, right? And so the idea, or like you, even in church or circles where they talk about marriage, or you see other people's marriages, your marriage may not look like that. Yeah. And what worked for them may not work for you. And what was their story may not be your story, right? And so I think, like, for us, the thing is, and it's so interesting because we came into it with 2 very different perspectives, very, very different perspectives. Cassandra came into it with this idea, this, idealistic, Clifford said fairy tales are just that. Fairy tales can be filled.
There's some great moments. There are great moments. But
yeah. So we came in with 2 very different ideas, right? So, like, Cassandra had this vision of marriage that was like bliss and wonderfulness and family building, and we're just gonna
always romantic, always
just serving the Lord
Cloud
and training up children in the way they should go, and all of this just
which is still true, though.
Bible truth, absolutely. But this image of, let's fix your face, girl. This image of what it should look like, and I came into it, mind you, with come from a background of, now mind you, her parents have been married for
38 years.
38 years.
I think that's right.
They have a big family, right?
Eight children.
Christian family, churchgoers, all of that. I come from a background of a family riddled by divorce. Almost everyone I know has been divorced at least a few times. So, and for me, I didn't have any expectation of what my marriage should be. For those of you that know my testimony, my story, my background, I never expected to be married to a woman. I never expected to be any of this. So I brought no expectations. And so I just kind of felt like it was like a blank slate, which can be good and bad, honestly, to have no vision, if you will, right? So we had these two very different perspectives coming into marriage. But what we have found in the last 2 years is that our marriage, though there are principles that are the same across the board that will work for any relationship, there are principles, communication, XYZ, all of this stuff that we hear about that we can relate to. But at the end of the day, our individual relationship is unique to us.
Yeah.
So.
And I think living in that space and being okay with that space, that although people will have advice, and will have suggestions about how their things have gone, I think realizing that your marriage is unique, I think is crucial. Because everybody's different. I mean, you have to think about it. You have two very imperfect people coming together. Like, we have totally different backgrounds coming together and trying to take different ideologies, different ideas, and merge them together and make it work. Like, bro. Yeah. It's
becoming one is not as cute as they make it sound. Now, let me not get you wrong. Don't get me wrong, I should say. Is that how you say it?
Don't get me wrong.
Don't get me wrong, right? We have amazing, beautiful, wonderful days, lots of great days, lots of wonderfulness, but not every day is joy and sunshine, if you will. And not every moment of every day is just bliss and amazingness. There is work that is put in, and intention, and it's you often hear about all of the glory of marriage, but I think this
will probably be your second point then.
No, it's still the first point.
Okay.
Right? What was my first point?
Well, your first point was about something else. It's late.
Well, we'll move on to it. Okay, so I'll say my
No, it was about, dang, my mind, pregnancy brain, post-pregnancy brain.
Dying to self was my
dying to self. Oh my gosh.
Hey, Victoria.
Sorry.
So dying to self. So, but the point is that you don't often hear about the struggle and the work, because people don't want to allow their mind to think that marriage could be difficult or hard or work. And so difficult doesn't mean like, as much as it just means there's intention and work. Yeah, it doesn't just happen by osmosis. You know what I mean? So, okay, second thing. So I did one, you did one. I said dying to self. You said?
I said it's all about
it's
realizing
not a fairy tale.
It's not like about the image or like an idea of what you think it'll be.
That every marriage
is different and unique, and it definitely takes some work.
Yeah.
I guess I can do mine segment because it kind of piggybacks off of that. So like, I'm not a conflict person.
Super not.
So I guess my conflicts would be avoidance, and more of like.
Hey, I'm very proud of you for saying that.
I know. I
you just admitted that in publicly. I'm very proud of you. Yay. Sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
So I think it's really been like a thing of realizing that. So in my mind, I've never done well with conflict. And if you're in any type of relationship, any type of friendship, you know it's crucial to, conflict is important to get to an expected end, to get past something that's a barrier that's causing rift or some type of disagreement or ruffling the feathers, if you will. And he's the complete opposite. And he's like, let's get it done.
And like conflict.
Let's figure it out.
We got this.
So I think for me, one thing that these
hey,
last few years,
Mom Cheryl.
And it's not to go joined in. One thing it's taught me is, you know, you have to be okay with trusting your partner in areas that you may not necessarily be as strong in. So he's gung ho. Let's try to get to the bottom of this. Counselor, coach, all of those things. Mental health advocate, all about not hiding your stuff, but dealing with all of your stuff. And I'm like, everything's fine. You know, we can just kind of smooth over this and like get past it. And like, we may have an argument and I'd be like, not necessarily want to address it, but just kind of move on and get back to that place of like, let's just be good again. So getting to a place of trusting your spouse that they have the best interest at heart and are able to really pull out of you areas that you may not necessarily be as strong in. So I think, I mean, I'm still not necessarily as like gung-ho, like let's talk right now, but at least I'm not running from every single conflict and realizing that conflict comes to make any relationship stronger. And you will face some storms. Like life can be stressful, like new jobs, new house, you know, buying a new house, having a baby, being pregnant.
And listen, her third trimester, mighty God. That's all I'm saying.
You don't even know, but like, you know, hormones. So anyway, and even, you know, things that come along with life, family dynamics, it all impacts and puts a lot of stress and strain on relationships. And if you don't have a way of communicating and coming to a sensible agreement, it just won't work. You can't come to it like, someone had a really good quote. It's not me against you. It's us against the problem. So I think I had to really come to grips with that. Like, cause I'm a person, like, I don't like to be wrong. Like, I'm usually right.
She does not like to be wrong.
But I feel like I'm usually right about things. Like, and I usually am right. So coming with someone who's just as strong-willed.
We're both extremely headstrong. So like very strong.
It all ties into that place of like, okay, like I'm serving you. I'm going to submit my thoughts and my wishes, you know, to what this marriage needs. And so it's getting to a place of, you know what, it's all good. I'm not going to be upset with you. We're going to really get to a place where we can reach an agreement. And it hasn't always been easy. There's been some ugly
The principle
moments.
sounds cute in
you
theory,
know,
but it hasn't. It's
sometimes
not always easy.
you got to just leave, and sometimes, you know, we'll just leave and drive, come back, revisit it. Like go for a drive.
Okay.
You've left and gone for a drive a couple times because we didn't have like necessarily the words to say.
Yeah, I say I'm doing that though. I'm just bounce out.
I mean, you never left.
Yeah. But
like you told me, hey, I'm going to go and figure this out. Let me go clear my head. Let me go think.
True. Communication is key. So so with that, like I'm gonna. We didn't pre-plan this conversation. P.S. So we're like, this is all off the dome. We just giving it to you raw. So the. With me, what is the one thing that I always say?
It is rough, Danielle. Listen.
Well, I'll say it, so I don't want to test you publicly. Mom Cheryl said, "Thanks, Mom Cheryl. We love you. We miss you too." So one of the biggest things with Cassandra. Okay, so she said she told you like her conflict style is avoidance, right? Like so, and that's big for her to even say that. So with Sandra on her at her extremes. Imagine if we were in a boat and the boat was sinking. At her extremes, Sandra has two reactions. One is, oh, the boat is sinking, but the water is so nice. Look at this great water. We'll be just fine, right? And then the other extreme is, now I'm not saying she's always like these. I'm just saying like these are her two extremes. The other extreme is, oh my God, we are gonna die. We're gonna die. We're gonna die. We're gonna die. And those are her like extremes, right? When she's not like level-headed. So learning, and if you know me, you know that those two extremes drive me insane. Like they irk the life in me. Like I just be like, okay. So us dealing with conflict has been a challenge. It's been very, very challenging because both of us had this mindset like you just need to see
you just need to see things the way I see it, and that's it, period. And, you know, I was like, these two extremes here, you need to fix that. Just fix it, because that's your problem. It ain't my problem. And I remember saying that one time. We got into a little disagreement, and I was like, listen, all of your issues ain't none of mine. So you need to pray about that. You take that to the Lord, and when y'all figure that out, you let me know, right? I was so mad. And then the Lord got with me and said, hey, come over here. We need to have a little talk, right? And showed me, like, though these are her issues, just like I have my own issues. And Sandra, I'm sure she felt like it could list them out for days. I got my own issues, right? But he said, though they are her own issues, you are the husband and the head of this house. And though it is not your responsibility to heal her, it is your responsibility to lead her in healing. And so it is your responsibility to encourage her, uplift her, push her in that direction, and support her journey in that. So I guess to piggyback off that, my second thing would be learning to do conflict well has been an extreme challenge. It's been a 2-year process that is still in process. So
still ongoing.
All of this stuff we're saying tonight it's all we're learning. We've learned it and are learning it in the different layers of it. So learning to do conflict well has been difficult because, as she said, we're both extremely headstrong. And so, you know, both of us want the last word.
It's always that last.
And I tell her this all the time, actually. And the principle is both of us.
Always the last thing.
It's always that last thing that you want to say. Just don't say it. Like that last little comment.
Swallow it. I have learned if you just hold that last
it's that last thing. Because that last thing is going to be the thing that pisses them off. It's going to be the last thing that sets them over. Like that last thing I say to her, like, let's say she does something and I'm like, I don't know. Let's say, what's something you could do that would irritate me? Oh, Sandra, and you feel free to name one of mine. But like, Sandra doesn't, like when the trash is full in the trash can, she doesn't push it down. Like there could be tons of space in the bag, but Sandra don't touch trash. She got a germaphobe kind of situation.
It's not a germaphobe.
That's right. She's just very aware, right? Okay. So that she'll just stack it, and then if that stack is gonna fall, she'll just stack it next to it until I come along and push it down, because that's apparently my job, right?
Yeah, check out the trash.
Yeah, and so there'll be times where I'd be like, I don't understand why you can't push the trash down, huh? Wait, your hands don't work? But it's that last comment, like, is you handicapped or something? Like, you ain't had to say that. You know what I mean? Like, hold your tongue, bruh. Hold your tongue. And the Lord fights your battle. Won't he do it? So that's my second thing. Learning to do conflict well has been a challenge. And for the record, we do from time to time go to marriage counseling. We also seek counsel from our elders. We seek counsel from other married couples. And we obviously could always do better at doing that, for sure. Yeah. But so all of that is very helpful in the process. So this is Pastor Clarence Stevens. He was my youth pastor when I first got saved.
Praise
and
God.
He's the pastor of Brighter Way Ministries now. And he said, her issues, not your issues, they will be yours quick.
Won't they be yours?
To come on.
So, I mean, but I guess just to give another example, it's just like, my thing has always been like dishes. It's like.
Now, I can wash dishes, and I do frequently, but I don't always do them regularly.
So I guess I'll just say
right?
we have our particular things.
Preferences, for sure.
So our preferences. So I've learned.
Hey, Andrea. Hey, Janaya.
Instead of like getting that last tit for tat, it's like talking in a way like that he'll understand. Like, hey, you might want to, for example, cut the flowers over the sink.
Okay, so we frequently have flowers because I buy flowers for Sandra frequently. Just because.
Keep interjecting my story.
Oh, so I was gonna say why. I felt like I needed to say why I cut them.
That's why we go through all the time. Anyways, so it's just like, you know, that will mess with the disposal if you put that in.
If they get stuck in here.
So it's just so learning, like, okay, your intentions are good.
You're supposed to cut the flowers over the sink under running water, because that's what the people say. If you want the flowers to last long, you cut them diagonally under running water.
But you should probably have something under to catch it.
That's true. That's true.
Mess up your sink.
That's true.
So anyway, I guess that would go into my last point. Like, believe that your spouse has the best intention. So although they may not necessarily do things the way that you do, or like, you know, just random stuff, I'm just like, why would you do that? Like, what?
And I feel the same way. That's where the conflict comes. I always tell our therapists that we do great. Me and Sandra do great. Where we struggle is at that middle point.
In the middle.
That meeting in the middle.
So anyway, so believing the best about him, and knowing that he probably has the best intentions in mind, so he may not necessarily notice things that you do. Like, everybody has their things. Like, for him, it's the trash. Like, it doesn't really bother me that much because he's gonna take it out at some point. I've had to get to that point. No, I had to get to that point where I'm not gonna allow this to be a thing because it's small, it's dumb, you know. And for me, with the dishes and the other things, it's like, it's small, it's dumb. We're a household now, and whereas I notice some things when we
Joseph. Thanks, Joseph.
you notice some things when you're dating. Those things don't go away.
She basically just tried to shade. She tried to shade me on live. What she was saying was,
I didn't say
when we recording,
I didn't say any of that.
You said stuff you notice when you dating that don't go away. Let me explain. She used to come over to my house. I'm gonna put it out there. I don't mind. So she used to come over to my apartment when we were dating, and there would be like dishes in the sink. Now again, I wash dishes frequently, but I don't wash them regularly. You know what I mean? Because you got more. You know what I mean? Like, there's 3 right there that need to be cleaned, but you got more. You know what I mean? And so you got a dishwasher too. Just stick them in there. So, but anyway, moving on. Number 3, third thing you learned in 2 years of marriage.
My third thing was expect,
I'm so weak.
Give them the benefit of the doubt. So for me,
that's your third thing.
Yeah, it's expecting the best out of your spouse,
believing the
and
best, yeah.
not assuming that they're doing something spitefully against you. I had to realize that he wasn't spitefully cutting those flowers to get on my nerves. I had to realize that he wasn't just leaving dishes to get on my nerves. We have our own things, and I can't allow that to get me frustrated and get me upset, because then we don't have that unity anymore. We don't have that harmonious living, and it's dumb stuff, at the end of the day.
In my mind, I would be so mad, because it would be like, I know you ain't about to pick no darn fight over some flower stems that I bought you. I bought you the flower. The flower I cleaned it up, cut it up, put it nice in the vase, arranged it beautifully so that you could feel loved and appreciated. And the only thing you got to say is these darn stems in the sink.
Because I know it's going to mess up the disposal, which it did. It ended up messing up the disposal.
And I don't mind her telling me that, right? I just be thinking, like, just wait till tomorrow to tell me that. Like, right now, let's just be appreciative.
Timing is everything. So anyway, I think I've learned, we have our things. We have our quirks. And at the end of the day, is this going to matter in 10 years? Right. I don't want to get, I guess this would be like a 3B. I don't want, these things to rob the moment. Zion is 10 months already. We're already 2 years into this. Mm-hmm. I don't want to continue to live life as if I'm so grappling with all the things that I'm irritated with that I'm forgetting to rest in the moment and appreciate what God has done. Appreciate the gift that God has given me. So I guess that would be like a 3C. Appreciation.
Y'all just said I'm getting ready to close.
In conclusion, I think being appreciative, realizing that they have their intentions expecting the best out of their intentions, and counseling has taught us that, and not allowing those small things, those small foxes, you know, to ruin the vine. Because what will happen is you come home, like for me, what historically would happen is, you know, when we first got married, I would come home from work, and he told me later, like, I would come home and he was like, oh my gosh, I would get so anxious when you come home, because you would have like this list of things that I didn't do, although I did like 50 other things.
Yeah, Sandra had a list.
I was like, you didn't make the bed. Oh my gosh.
Let's say I could have cleaned the whole downstairs, right? And
except
made
the dishes,
except the
made
dishes,
bed,
right?
Yeah.
And let's say I cleaned up and I cooked like 12 meals for the next week, right? And Sandra would come home. This is when we first got married, and she would be like, "You didn't make the bed." Be the first thing she'd say.
So you learn how to give and take. You know?
No, I literally that's my exact. I would be like,
but he would have his things too. So you learn how
Yeah.
to not. You learn how to talk to the person about those things that bother you,
yeah.
and not.
And she mentioned like how she doesn't do conflict, right? And I do conflict, right? So like in moments like that, I would immediately be like, "What you're doing is wrong. We need to like, what's good?" Like I did clap kind of hard. That sounded very. Anyway, but like immediate. That's the point of the clap. Don't wake the baby. But but like I would immediately be like, I know your spirit ain't wrong. Like you better get your life together. And so I would immediately be on the defensive, right? And then because of my tone or posture, or I'm very animated, right? Because I'm so animated. Plus, mind you, I'm Italian. I'm from the East Coast.
From the East Coast.
She's from the Midwest. They're
Don't come from the Midwest.
y'all just are not as aggressive.
We're not aggressive.
In your, and I don't want to use the word aggressive because we're not aggressive, but we're a little more straightforward, right? So, but and because I would instantly go to that, Sandra would shut down, and then I would get irritated by her shutdown. I'd be like, first of all, I know you hear me talking to you. Hello, right? Because I hate being ignored. So it's interesting how like it's like domino effects, right? So you learn like this is not gonna work. Like we can't keep doing life like this, tit for tat, kind of like, you know, all of us, you know, we can't do everything right 100% all the time. So
yeah.
Assertive. Thank you, Janaea, for the languaging. Get you a counselor who can help you with language.
It wasn't always assertive.
Assertive.
Sometimes it was a little aggressive. So
That's very true.
so we've had to meet. We've had to meet in the middle with a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, there's some things that I've had to adjust. There's some things you've had to adjust, and then the rest we've just had to let go.
Yeah. Put
to
in
make
God's
it work,
hands.
make it a new normal. You know, for our families.
Yeah.
For our family.
And so my third thing. Thank you for 3 A, B, and C. High five.
It was actually 5 or 7. 7.
Hey, Gigi.
Hi.
So what am I doing? 3.
Your
3.
last
My third
one.
point, my last point, and we're gonna wrap up and be done. Is the third thing I've learned in the 2 years is, and you kind of know this, but I feel like I have learned it so much more, and I'm learning it, is that marriage is a commitment, right? It is a covenant, right? So it's more than a contract, it's a covenant, but it's a commitment.
That's
like
good.
you're committed to see this thing through to the end. And I can honestly tell you, like, for me, coming from a family background riddled by divorce, like absolutely riddled by divorce, in the beginning of our marriage, and it is something I had to work on and have to work on frequently, taking captive my thoughts. But in the beginning, every little thing, every disagreement, every time she looked sideways at her face, and I'd be like, first of all, I can't
give a mean side eye.
No, she kills with her eyes. It's terrible. If her eyes were a weapon, she, but every little thing, my brain would immediately go to, well, It was a good ride. You know what I mean? We had a beautiful wedding. It was a good, number of months. It was beautiful. Every time my brain would instantly go to, well, we tried, but it didn't work out. God bless you. Hope you are happy one day. Hope I could be happy one day, but I got to go. God bless you. And I had to literally, and I would never say it. Like I would never say I want a divorce or I want to get out or I want to leave, right? But I would find ways to communicate that without saying it. But my brain would go there. And because of that, Cassandra was like, felt unsure, right? Like unsafe, if you will, right?
Yeah.
So learning that this is a commitment, that I always love you. I don't always like you. You know what I mean? Like, and she said that too. So I don't want to say that's just me saying that. But in marriage, you're not going to always like each other. Like not every day you're going to be like, I love you. You know what I mean? But it's a deep love. It's a covenant. It's a commitment to one another that come hell or high water, no matter what we go through, even if you need to take you a little moment, you take a little moment, we have made a commitment and we are going to see this through into the end. And so the commitment, being committed to each other, even with each other's flaws and issues, because there are things that you don't discover or learn about each other until you get married. There are things that you don't see or know about each other until you get married. For instance, there are things that I won't go into like deep detail here, but like there are triggers that I didn't know I had until we got married. There are struggles I didn't know I even had until we got married. And so learning to be committed to one another. And I think when you see,
hey Darnell,
what up Darnell? I think when you see not only like your commitment to that person, but their commitment to you, I think it's just another side of love that it's like, wow, this is actually awesome. This is amazing. And I think to segue into my 3B point, as you would put it, I think that love, that commitment is what is so beautiful about marriage. Marriage is a powerful thing. Yeah. We have accomplished so much since the time that we got married, right?
Oh, it's Anya.
Oh, it's Anya. Hello,
hey,
Anya. I didn't get it. I was like, who's him? But so marriage is a powerful, powerful tool, of sanctification, of growth. We have come such a long way in such a short period of time over the last 2 years by the grace of God. And I know for a fact that I wouldn't have been able to do some of the things I've done being single. I wouldn't have been able to be sanctified in some of the ways that I've been sanctified being single. You know what I mean? And so though it is challenging, it is also an extreme blessing and an extremely beautiful journey, I would say.
Yeah. I think going back to the commitment thing, I think it scared me the first time I had the thoughts of like, oh my gosh, like this is more than what I bought. Like, can I return this?
Woo!
Where's the exchange policy?
Wow.
Not just that, but it's like, bro, like you go from living your life very independent. You go where you want to go when you want to go. Okay. You spend money how you want to spend money. You spend your time how you want to spend your time. Yeah. And it's different. We didn't live together before we got married. We weren't sexually active. Right. We didn't do any of that before we got married. So to come together in marriage and realize, this is a little bit rocky, and you have some moments where you're just like, you're sleep deprived. When we first had the baby,
oh my God,
you're tired. You have moments where you're just like, I have never been this exhausted in my life. And you think that, you're pretty reasonable on a regular day, even keel, but you're tested. Life comes at you.
Throw some transitions in there.
You have transitions, and you have to learn how to weather the storm together. Yeah. So it's that thought of, I made a promise to God,
and to each other.
Mm-hmm. Like I promised you at the altar, in sickness and in health, for better or for worse, for rich or poor, like whatever comes our way, like we are in this together. This is this is a covenant that the Lord will help us. And there have been some moments where I just been like, Lord, I need you to come right in, because we don't know what we're doing. Yeah. And God has given us the grace. So I can't say that we have had all the tools by ourselves, but it's been the Lord that has kept us through this journey and is keeping us through this journey. But it's a commitment of, you know what, although we're having a rough day, you won't go to sleep, try again tomorrow. And things get better. You know, like we've had some beautiful moments. Majority of the time, like we have beautiful moments, but you have those bumps in the road, and
that's life.
It's life. It's
life.
taught me that it's not the image, it's not the ideas of what you think it's going to be. You have to go through conflict resolution, understanding your conflict style, understanding who you are and how that's affecting the other person. Because when I was shut down, that affects him a whole other way. And so you have to realize that I'm not going to allow these small foxes to run the vine. I'm not going to allow my preferences to be a big thing. I'm not going to make a mountain out of a molehill. Like, this is so small and insignificant. It's not worth it. And I'm going to allow myself to, you know, have that discipline and have that realization that we're in this for the long haul. We're in it with the covenant. I was trying to sum up your other 2 points. You didn't forget already. Y'all, it's late.
No, it's late. But I will say, I'll say to add to that, I think that, and we said this earlier, but to say it again, that in the beginning, Cassandra, I think conflict equaled crisis to her, right? But conflict is a part of any healthy relationship building. There is healthy conflict. It's really not about, conflict doesn't equal crisis. Service. Dying to yourself. But so learning to do conflict well, it's really how you handle it. How do you handle these opportunities for growth, these opportunities to be stretched, these opportunities to die to yourself, opportunities for the two to become one, and looking for opportunities to serve one another. I think, and Gigi's on here, but the Lindleys last night on their live, they've been married for 14 years, and they did a phenomenal live last night talking about some things that they've learned. And they said, you know, marriage is about serving one another, you know, finding opportunities to serve one another and to take joy in that. And that is, it really is a blessing. It's challenging. Like Cassandra said, you know, we've only been married for 2 years, right? So we still got a long way to go, you know what I mean? But
shout out to the person who said, once you hear Tiffany said, once you hear 5 years.
But they Lord, what was the point?
Sorry.
No, you're good. Serving one another.
Lost it. It's gone.
It's somewhere. Sorry. No, you're good. I think my point though was that, like, oh, that's what it is. Okay, thank you, Lord. Is you come into this, you go from being single to being engaged to being married, and it takes a little while, you know, to lose the single way of thinking. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do marriage with a single way of thinking.
That's good.
You know, you got a single mind, a single spirit, you know, and you have to come into this to becoming one. And I think you really have to do the work of allowing yourself to lay down that single mind, because you're not single anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's all we want to share with you. We're going to wrap up. I want to give opportunity for you guys, if you have any questions. We'll do a Q&A just quickly, real quick. So we'll take a couple questions. If anybody has any questions, anything you want to ask, we will answer it. So while you're doing that, I will say, if you want a marriage test, have a baby. Have a baby. When Zion was first born, we had a rough transition into parenthood. We thank God our son is
so tired.
I love our son. He's so a blessing. Tired. But we were so tired. I'm still tired. I think I've gotten used to being tired. It's my way of life now. Yeah. I wake up tired, I go to bed tired. That's just how it is, right? Parenting. But when we first had Zion, people, they tell you sleep now because you won't get it later, which I don't think would help, because I would still be tired because I slept. That was 2 weeks ago that I slept. You know, I ain't never wanted to nap so bad in my life. Zion is in his crib. He's asleep. But that first night we had the baby, we were in the hospital, and I was exhausted. We had been, how long were you in labor?
18 hours.
18 hours in labor, and it was crazy. At one point, I literally...
That's a good question, Gigi.
We gonna come to it. At one point, Sandra, the baby was crying. It was like 3 a.m. I forget what I said, but I was literally out of my mind. As Fanika friend would say, my mind was ate up. And I literally was like, I don't even know. I don't know what's going on. I don't even know why I'm here. I'm just gonna lay down. And I like laid down on the couch and instantly passed out. They should have gave me some medicine or something. So, all right, let's look at these questions. Janae said, "Where's Zion?" We showed he's in the crib. Thank you, Amber. Gigi said, "What is it like to be married to such a beautiful woman?"
Oh, you're so kind, Gigi.
Gigi.
I love you.
It's amazing. I feel so tremendously blessed. She makes me better. Look at the smile. Huh. Gigi, I feel like God has smiled on me.
He has.
He certainly has.
He has favored you. Don't you forget.
Amber said, "Really want to test it? Have 4 kids."
We do want to have between 3 and 5.
3 and 5.
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's what we said when we didn't had none. That was before I ever knew what it was like. Then we had
they said after the first one it gets easier.
No.
We're definitely having more.
No, we said that was before. And then remember we talked again, and I was like, I said we can have maybe 3.
Yeah.
But what I want, this is what I want from God. I want for Sandra to get pregnant one more time with twins. I want it to be twin girls or a girl and a boy. And we're good. We'll be done.
Bro.
One last time. We'll go for it. Do it, God. All right. Tanya said, are there any things that you could have learned before you got married that will help your marriage? Yes. Money management. For real. Good financial life. And I could have learned a whole lot more about sex in a healthy way, because I think all my introductions to sex were in some form of perverted manner. And what else could I have learned? Probably more conflict management. I probably could have learned more of that communication skills. And I honestly wish I had done more of my individual soul work, just discovering myself as a person, healing as a person from past wounds. I wish I had done that sooner. That would have helped tremendously.
Hey, Kayla.
So, did you have anything you feel like you could have learned sooner?
Yeah, I agree with the conflict management. And I talk with a lot of wives early on, but I feel like I could have learned more about the transition with parenting too. I think that was major. I don't know, in my mind, I just had the idea of like, it wouldn't be this hard. Like, it's work and be so tired. And probably, I probably would have bought a deep freezer and done a lot of things differently.
What would you have done pre-COVID-19? Bought a deep freezer.
We bought a deep freezer because now they're out.
They're sold out everywhere.
But in all seriousness, I definitely would have explored more of the conflict resolution and talked with more wives. Like, I think I talked with a lot, but just talk more about how to navigate that space. You know, he's in ministry. How do you navigate him being out late at night, and you know, we both are working full time. Like our
schedules are very different.
Having to having to really mesh. I think I would have explored that a little bit more in like cohabitating spaces, like how to make that transition a little bit easier. I think that would have helped.
Yeah. Now, mind you, being married in 1950 is very different than being married in 2020. Being married even in 1970 is very different. Now, there are some things that are obviously always going to be the same, but the times are different. You know what I mean? Like, back in the day, the way that some of these teachings on marriage and stuff were projected were really societal and cultural, and they fit that time, but they don't fit today. And so, like, the question, like, Cassandra is a doctor. She works at a hospital full time. Her schedule is she gets up really early. She goes into work 5 or 6 in the morning. she comes home working in a hospital is very draining. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur. She was an entrepreneur when I met her. I'm a minister, and I also work as the executive pastor of a very a thriving church here in Columbus, as well as a media director there. So our types of work is very different. Our schedules are very different. And so trying to figure out how that works today in 2020, because the old way of doing things doesn't work. Sandra does the best that she can with things. I did the best that I can with things. But it would be ridiculous for me to expect her to have breakfast ready every morning, dinner ready every night. Like, it would be ridiculous because it just wouldn't fit what we have going on, if you will. So
you gotta have teamwork. Yeah. So thanks, Kirsten.
Hey, cousin.
Appreciate it.
You gotta answer Gigi's question.
Gigi, Cassandra, what is it like to be married to such an amazing guy? You know, Carly is the bomb, for real. I ain't gonna lie. She always doing that. No, but in all seriousness, I think, you know, one thing that really attracted me to him was his selflessness. You know, he was really good friends with my sister before we got married, and her now husband. And he drove all the way from Delaware, like 8 hours, to help after they had their first baby, just to help them cut their grass. So he's extremely selfless, extremely giving, like extremely, will give you the shirt off of his back type of guy. So I think that has trickled over in so many ways. Yeah. And I am very lucky. You know, I'm blessed. He's a good guy. He's a great person.
Babe.
Really funny. Sometimes I just be like, okay, you can tone it down. Stop being so extra. But
we have very different personalities, for real. Like,
but it's fun.
If you get to know Cassandra, if you get to know her, she's actually hilarious. She's talkative, extremely talkative. She sings a lot. She's loud. All of that stuff.
Not really loud.
Not loud. Just when you sing, you are very
project.
boisterous, you know.
And Caleb, I saw you. Hey, Caleb.
but and I'm like, and she's very like most of the time proper, you know, educated, right? And
Don't make that face.
I'm not.
You are educated.
I'm very educated. I'm very smart. I'm a smart, but I'm also I have a whole ratchet side. And so my baseline is like, you know. So it's interesting.
It's crazy
for sure. Because I always be trying to pull that out of her, and she actually loves that. Just so you know, she loves that side.
I am not bougie, Caleb. Stop it.
She a little bougie. She bougie. What's so funny though?
No, Gigi, answer your question. What's like being married to an extrovert? I was just saying the other day on our anniversary, and I know I'm talking fast, but I'm excited. I was like, thank you for being an extrovert, because we would have never met Gigi.
She really said this. Gigi, she literally said, thank you for being an extrovert, or else we would have never been friends with the Lindleys, because she would never have spoken.
I was like, you know.
She probably was lightweight upset that I was talking. She probably was sitting there thinking, it's our honeymoon, and here you are talking about the apostolic faith with two pastors on a bus. Like, and what's so funny is, and we'll wrap this up because I know we're still talking, but thank y'all for sitting in here with us. She mean mugged me. You told me you did. Remember? You said she probably thinks I mean mugged her. She said that. She said she probably thinks I mean mugged her. That is so funny. And look at y'all now.
I know we're such good friends.
Listen, we love the Lindleys. But Sandra, and this is what's so funny. We actually are both bougie. Now, I'm very ratchet. That's true. But I'm not ghetto. That's like, I can't do it, right? But we're both bougie, but in different ways, right?
All right, I'm a little bit bougie. But
Sandra is bougie in how she carries herself and all of that stuff. And like certain other things. I'm bougie in price tag. And that's the conflict.
But I'm thrifty.
She's very thrifty. She gave me the chocolate girl stink eye. She was like, don't be talking to my white men.
Y'all had like a whole conversation. I was just
we
like,
did. We had, now mind
y'all,
y'all might not know this, but so Gigi, the Lindleys, listen, the Lindleys, we met them on our honeymoon in St. Lucia. Yeah. We were in a van on our way to the resort.
It's like an hour drive.
It's an hour drive, and Gigi looks at me and she says, "Are you?" I forget, we were talking about something, and she says, "Are you a pastor?" We're having like base conversation, and she was like, "Are you a pastor?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, how did you know that? And she was like, "You look like a pastor," and I was like, "What?" Right. And so we got to talking. But what I will tell you is this: Gigi comes from the apostolic faith background, and so do I. And what I will tell you is this: I have always run into people that we just somehow click because of our background. I don't know if that's a thing or not.
And we just kept running into them at the resort.
We did. We ended up hanging out on their balcony. That was fun. Not balcony, but porch, balcony.
Yeah.
Anyway, side note, but yeah, Caleb said Ratchet and Ghetto are definitely different. They are very different. Ratchet has everything to do with.
That's right. so we have fun.
Thank you, Victoria.
He love you too. I think that's the thing. Like, we are extreme opposites, but that's what what I said at the beginning. Like, we have this idea, and like, we have made our own new normal.
Yeah, learning to respect each other. There are things about each other when you're married that absolutely need to change, right? Like, there are things about you that you need to adjust, change. I've had to adjust. She has to adjust. But you also learn to respect differences. And like, there are things about Cassandra that maybe early on used to really, really irritate me that now I'm just kind of like, that's who she is. You know what I mean? Like, you can't change that. It is who she is. It's her personality. So, all right. Well, that was our live. Yeah. What 2 years has taught us. So, things we've learned in the last 2 years of our marriage. Thank you to everyone who wished us a happy anniversary, celebrated with us, and came on the live tonight. Thank you to those who clicked share. We really appreciate this. Oh, Caleb asked the question: what things have y'all had to change for each other? Well, you have to go back and rewatch since you came in a little late.
Came into the room
P.S. We were watching. Caleb Curry does voice lessons for those of you.
So good.
You need to get with him.
He's one of the best singers I know.
And Caleb, if you haven't figured out how to monetize this thing, you need to book a session with me so we can talk. I enjoyed that. Thank you, Gigi. But yes, so in wrapping it up, we really do appreciate you guys. We ask for your prayers. Ask for your prayers as we continue on. We're believing God for all the years we have on this earth until eternity, that God will bless us in our marriage. So we love y'all. Have a good night. You want to say bye? Last words.
I like almost saying goodbye, but I was like, no.
Thanks, Marie. That's my cousin.
Hey. No, it's been lovely. There's hundreds of more things, we could have said, but be looking out for a book soon from us.
We have been working on the book for 2 years. It's not like a let me teach you about marriage book, because I'm very big on that. Like, I don't want to position myself as an expert on marriage, because we're really not. But we have this book called Things I've Learned Things I Wish I Knew. And it talks about things we just wish we knew coming into marriage. So we've been working on it for 2 years. Maybe one day it'll be out. So
get a little bit of time. So we'll babysit Zion. No, but in all seriousness, love you guys. Your support is everything, and just continue to pray for us. We pray for you all.
I gotta say something. We have a really awesome announcement coming. Probably, what's today?
Today's Thursday.
So probably coming like Sunday or Monday, about the work of the soul. We have been working really, really hard on a super, super dope community, which we're going to launch next week. So be on the lookout for all of what is coming, because it's going to be
y'all pray for us so we can finish this book. Listen,
yes.
with our
we have 2 books in the works. So Work of the Soul is literally almost done. It just has to go through editing and be published. And then we have Things I Wish I Knew. Things I Wish I Knew, hopefully, well, I'm not going to tell you that. But yeah, so it's going to come out.
In all seriousness. Kayla, don't come for me.
Ah! Kayla. All right, we're getting off here. Love you guys.
Oh, yeah. Bye-bye. Good night.